Playing two for you back-to-back, Simply Red and Shine On, and the absolutely fabulous Andrea Triana. And that's all right with me. That's all right with us, because we all like that track in the studio today.
Fantastic.
Very, very nice. Welcome to the studio, Paul Wharmby and Donal Bannon. To the
morning again.
Our business gurus. Good morning. How are we?
Good morning. Fine, thank you.
Great.
On a
Sun
lovely
shining.
day.
Look at it. Fantastic.
Can't ask for a better day. 20 degrees at the height today.
Really?
20 degrees. Unbelievable. So, quickly, just a quick background on yourself for new listeners before we start.
No problem. My name is Paul Wharmby. I manage Advanced Business Vision based in Hoylake. I promote myself as a management and business advisor. We actually do business jigsaw puzzles, and I always say to people, business is like doing a jigsaw puzzle, so many different pieces to put together. I often say maybe you've got all the pieces and maybe you haven't. If you've got all the pieces, fantastic. If you haven't, I hopefully can help you with that. Look at things like business planning and strategy formulation, all the implementation models and tools to get your business into growth and development, marketing, both the traditional type of marketing and the digital type of marketing with the new advent, so to speak, of social media, etc. And I work in collaboration with my good friend here, Donal Bannon from Morecrofts.
What a great link.
Trying hard.
Yeah, I'm Donal Bannon from Morecrofts Solicitors, Liverpool and Hamilton Square in Birkenhead. And I head up the commercial team there, and we help businesses with whatever legal agreements they might require, terms of business, even if they're selling or buying businesses, franchises, whatever it might be. If they've got a legal issue, we're there to help. Brilliant.
Right, I was stopped in the street the other day to ask you two a question.
Oh, here we
Excellent.
Go.
It's from someone in a football team that I know. He's got an online Facebook business account.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. I'm not going to go to what he does. I'm not going to advertise his business for him. But he's got an online Facebook business account. Yeah. Now that's all he's got. He's got nothing else to go with it.
Right.
No bank account, no papers, no nothing. He wants to know the legalities on where to go from this, because he's literally just started it.
Okay.
He's literally just started it, and it's something that he wants to build on, because he's had a great response from it.
Okay.
But he doesn't know where to take it from here.
Okay, so let's Donal handle the legal side, and then we'll look at
can
the
I
rest.
just ask what sort of business it is, first of all?
It's only cakes. It's only
Right.
cake making,
He's selling cakes.
But he's getting that many. He bakes cakes, and so he's getting that many orders in of people, and that much of a response. He wants to know what he needs to do and how to develop it, and what he needs to do on the legal side as well.
Yeah, I think the first thing is, we've talked over the last few weeks about planning. I mean,
Absolutely.
Does he really want to be a sole trader is the first question, or does he want the protection of having a limited company, of which he'd obviously be the 100% shareholder and own the business? But at least, if he runs things through his business, he has the protection that if the business fails, that he's not personally liable for the debts. There are some exceptions to that, but generally speaking, that's true. Plus, it might be more tax efficient for him if the business really takes off to take payments out by way of dividends rather than paying income tax on the full amount that he's earning. That's the first question I'd ask. The second is, I don't know whether he's actually employing anyone, but if he is, there are legislation that requires him to give contracts to his employees and so on, and he needs particular policies in place and so on to make sure he's compliant with that. Again, is he working from home, or is he have
It's
premises?
literally just him in a kitchen.
Right. Well, again, I've got sort of health and hygiene issues there. I mean, he probably needs to be licensed by a local council, for example, to inspect his kitchen, make sure it's compliant. And then there's things like, how is he selling these over the internet through Facebook? Is he, does he using terms of business, for example? What happens if there's a problem with what these cakes that he's supplying? Has he limited liability in any way, or is it open-ended? Or, he probably needs to think about that as well. And also for Facebook, I mean, he needs to be registered as a business, not as an individual.
Absolutely.
So there are many aspects of things he does need to consider, and I suggest this is probably the ideal time. He's obviously asked the question, he's thinking about it. He needs to actually sit down and actually work out where he's going to go with this, and make sure he does have all of those pieces of the jigsaw in place.
It is, and there it is, an exact example. It's a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? And you have to have all the pieces together to make your business a success. Yeah. Donald's given the legal side, I'll give the operational side. Yes, he has to sit down and think what he wants to do with this business. It's a great idea. I work with a client who's actually based in the southeast who does a similar thing. They make cupcakes, specialist cupcake manufacturer, and that grew from a kitchen over a period of 18 months, and they now employ 10 people, which is absolutely fantastic. So they're really going out there. And how did they do that? They marketed themselves specifically in a niche business as a cupcake manufacturer. And they've just built that business over the last 3 years now, which is going really well. But things like, get out there, get promoting yourself, use your marketing tools. And as we say every single week, think about how you want to do that. Think about your target market. And realistically, for something like cakes, your target market could be anybody. It could be businesses, it could be personal individuals, it could be anywhere, but think about how you want to market it. Use social media, absolutely, and there are many, many players out there, as we know, many, many platforms. We say a couple every week, so, let's just get those in our minds of who those are. But as Donal said, Facebook for Business, you have to be registered as a business. You can't use it as a person, an individual, if you're going to run a business from it. Well, you can, but if Facebook find out, they will strike you off and give you a slap on the wrist. So do it properly, and as we always say, do your homework. Go and do it, and I wish him every success. Fantastic. Fantastic.
You do see now a lot of successful businesses starting on Facebook now, don't you? Social media. It's so effective. Yeah. It really is.
Totally.
It is, but it doesn't say whether he's only using Facebook. I mean, obviously there's lots of other social media platforms out there that he should be using as well.
Absolutely. And specifically being a cake manufacturer, it's a visual. So he's got to be using a suitable platform to promote his business. And we know where I'm going with that one, yeah? There are a couple out there.
Yeah.
Okay. But just do your homework. What a fantastic opportunity. Make sure you've got finances in place. As Donal said, make sure you've got contracts in place. Make sure you're covering the health side of things. Just tighten it up. And good luck. Go for it.
So there you go, Ian. Go and buy a penny. Go and buy a penny and go wash your hands, buy a penny, and you make sure you get all your certificates. So
absolutely.
Thank you for that. He's listening now in his office in Birkenhead, so he's,
well
as I say, he asked me to get in touch, which is brilliant. Any questions that you do want to put to the gents about anything like that? It could be you run a business, or you're looking to get into a business, or you're having problems with a business, or anything like that, then do get in touch. Give us a call, 0151 637 3737. You can text us 66777 and put the word Wirral in front of your text, or get in touch on the website on wirralradio.co.uk and send us a shout out from the shout out box. There's loads more to get through after the Eurythmics, who are playing for you next.
Wirral Radio Daytime.
It's 92.1 Wirral Radio on DAB and online with the Eurythmics. And There Must Be an Angel. You know what? I love Annie Lennox. What a fabulous voice that woman's got.
Absolute classic.
Really fabulous voice. Business Guru Zoom, we have Paul Wharmby and Donal Bannon in with all your business advice today. Shout out, we just had a message in off Tony in West Kirby. He's been in touch with the gents. He says, I run a graphic design company in West Kirby. How can I legally protect my brand?
Oh, good question, Tony. Yeah, I mean, obviously in graphic design, I'm sure you probably have logos as well as fabulous names. So you can protect both, and you just need to register them. There's a registry that normally charges around £400 per name or per logo. So get in touch with the programme and we can help you with that process. As I said, there's logos which can be checked against as well. Obviously, you can't adopt somebody else's logo once they're protected. So you just need to make a quick search, first of all, make sure that your name and your logo is still available, hasn't been registered, and then it's quite a straightforward process. And obviously, although we haven't mentioned it, I hope that he's already subscribed to the various domain name variants as well, to make sure that nobody's trying to pass themselves off as his business.
What happens if you... For example, if you do make a business logo without knowing that there's a logo extremely similar to it around and about, what totally just innocently make a logo and it's already out there?
Yeah, there is a registry, you see, of those logos and etc. that have been already registered. So when you try to register yours, if there's any similarities, it should be picked up at that stage. And if it's not, then there may well be a battle further down the line in terms of who got there first and whether it really matters, because you may be in different industries and so on. But obviously the more successful the two businesses are, they'll be fighting over that, because, a very famous airline, for example, I won't mention which one it is, but they've obviously diversified into various other industries. So when anybody tries to use the prefix to their name, they get very excited about it. So,
exactly.
Yeah, you do have to be very careful.
Again, it's about doing a bit of homework, in that planning stage. And a lot of businesses I deal with just go ahead and go, look at this, Paul, we've got this fantastic name and we've got this fantastic logo, maybe a bit of a tagline, whatever. And away they go. And it's on a website, it's out there. Hang on a minute, look at it logically, as Donal said. Go through that planning stage, make sure you've covered all the angles, because at the end of the day, if you haven't, it could come back and bite you very, very hard. So think about it.
So there you go, Tony. Thanks for getting in touch, and hope the advice was what you wanted. Another email in off Grace. She's been in touch and said, my friend and I have been running a small mobile beauty business, which are all the rage at the moment, to be fair. There's loads of them out there. This has been on a great informal basis, but things are really starting to get busy and lots of work is coming in, and we feel we need to make it more of a formal arrangement. What's the difference between a partnership and a limited company, and what would be the best for their business?
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, let's just explain the difference between a partnership and a limited company then to start with. A partnership basically means that you've got one or more people who come together with the objective of making the business work and making profits from it. If they don't have a partnership agreement drawn up between them, then it effectively means that the law assumes that they're contributing equally and they're both entitled to the same share of the profits. If that's not the case, then they do need to make sure that they have an agreement which reflects what they've both put into it and what they're both going to take out of it. If anything goes wrong with the business, they're both liable for the debts, jointly and severally. So any of the creditors can come to just one of the partners and ask to be paid. They don't have to go to both of them too. A limited company, on the other hand, is obviously has its own legal personality, its own entity. They can obviously, if they want to be equal shareholders, then 50-50 of the shares. But obviously if the business then fails, it's the company which gets ground up. The company is responsible for the debts, not the individuals or the shareholders themselves. And that's basically the distinction. Also, partnership, they'll probably end up paying more tax than they would do in a limited company, as I just explained a couple of questions ago. It's more tax efficient usually to take the money out by way of dividends. But also, if they're going to have a limited company, then again, they should have a shareholders agreement drawn up. This again reflects what their intentions are in terms of if one of them wants to leave the company, does the other one have to sell to them first? And if so, how the shares are going to be valued and so on. So I'm delighted they're asking the questions. That's brilliant. But then the next step must be to, whichever model they choose to adopt, they must get an agreement drawn up to make sure that they're each protected, because you never know what's going to happen further down the line. One might get ill or whatever and can't carry on in the business. So the other one needs to be protected.
Absolutely. Do we got any understanding of how they're trading at the moment?
They don't say. They think they're just going.
Okay, just going for it, so to speak.
Just gone for it, and it's
and
exploded.
It's growing. Well, it's
similar to the
fantastic
cake
news.
situation
Great
before.
News. Yeah, great news.
Brilliant.
But again, as we say every week, just take that little step back now, because you've asked that question. What's the next step? Listen to what Donal said. Take that advice and go and seek it. And we're here to help if we can. Really pleased that things are moving for them. Sounds like they've got a good business there. Nice customer base, offering a great service, which is what it's about at the end of the day. Just keep doing what you're doing, but seek some professional advice to get that next stage in place to secure your future.
So it says that they're just on an informal basis at the moment.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah. I think it needs to be formalised. If it's
Certainly
growing,
does.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. If it's growing the way they're indicating it's growing, it's time to formalise arrangements. And to do that, take some advice. Don't just listen to your friends and your colleagues and your family about how you should do it. Take some serious advice and listen to that advice, and then move forward from there.
So where do they go next to formalise the business?
Well, they need to see a solicitor, frankly.
And we've got one here. Funnily enough.
The whole thing is obviously somebody would sit down with them and talk through exactly where they are and what they've agreed between themselves, and then draw up an agreement which they will both sign to confirm what it is that's going to happen, how they're going to operate the business, and also in the future how they're going to divide up the profits and the assets and so on. And unless they do that, unfortunately, then they're going to come involved in a very lengthy legal battle over who's entitled to what.
Yeah.
So it's best avoided for quite a small expense.
Absolutely.
To draw up an agreement.
And again, we say this every week. A little bit of advice now can save you immense amounts of cash in the future. And we're not suggesting for 1 minute this could go wrong or will go wrong, but just do the planning bit. Do that sort of. Get it right now. And as I say, Donal and his team, or anybody, can offer advice and give options. Consider all of the options, and then what's best for you, and then do it. That's the way to do it.
Brilliant. And Grace, if you want to feel free to come down and give us a free haircut, then feel free and come down.
Massage, whatever, you know.
You can come down and
Cakes, yeah.
Come down and give us a freebie. But thank you for getting in touch. I hope that information helped you. Right, the gents are here for another 20 minutes or so get in touch. 0151 637 3737. Drop us an email, studio@wirralradio.co.uk, or text us 66777 and put the word Wirral in front of your text. Jess Glynn on the way for you after this from Crosby, Stills and Nash on 92.1.
Looking at the world through the sunset in your eyes.
Jess Glynn and Hold My Hand on 92.1 Wirral Radio on DAB and online. Great tune. Love Jess Glynn. I'm just talking to gents off air as well. Not
Phenomenal.
only do these two know about business, they're big music fans as
Oh,
well.
we were dancing away here to that last one. It was fantastic.
Gorgeous music.
They know their music, they really do. Business advice till 11 o'clock today. Last chance to get your questions in. Thanks for the emails so far, been really good. A texting, Ian just texted who asked about the cakes.
The cake
earlier
guy.
in this show.
He's bringing some in. Excellent.
He's listening away in the office. He said thank you very much for the advice.
Welcome in.
Welcome.
So he's just been in touch, which
Thank
is
you.
great. John has been in touch and said, I'm looking at ways in which to grow my business. What are the best ways in your view, and how should you go about it?
Okay, good question. Two normal ways. Normal growth, which we call organic, whereby you genuinely grow your business through adding things, maybe look at, if you're a service organisation, let's say, maybe adding different services. And one particularly who I work with is a wedding florist, a specialised wedding florist. Fantastic organisation, and they wanted to look at different ways of bringing additional services in to complement what they do. So things like wedding music, and I mean live wedding music now, you know, someone who's going to perform, maybe photographer, maybe wedding cars, maybe specialised outfits, whatever, but looking to build their total service offering to clients. So that's one way of doing it. That's organic growth. From a product point of view, you could do the same thing. If you're selling widgets or things, whatever you want to call them, maybe cakes and whatever, as we're saying with Ian, what else could Ian do, you know, apart from baking the cakes and selling the cakes? But that needs a bit more research. Obviously, that needs, you know, what would the market be? Who are you going to sell to? What are the pricing constraints? What are the barriers out there? How can you overcome those barriers? All those things. That's organic growth. Or there's acquisition, which I'm sure Donal's very, very familiar with, whereby you as a business would look to maybe take one of your competitors or another business, and you actually take over that business. Lots and lots of legal implications involved in that. But that is a way basically of buying a customer base, buying a product range or a service range, and actually having a ready-made market. It may be a business that is not doing very well, where you think you can actually improve that business. It may be a really high-flying business that you think, you know what, we need to look at that. Lots of legal implications involved, but could be good, but two ways to grow your business normally.
Well, yes, one of the things we perhaps didn't touch on there was actually just expanding.
Absolutely, yeah.
It may be, excuse me, it may be that she's just continuing to offer the same services, but she's looking at perhaps opening a new outlet or a new office somewhere. That can be just as effective breaking into a new market. Obviously, you've got the infrastructure already in place, so it's easier to duplicate it and find new contacts in the local area. So, yeah, there's lots of ways to grow your business, but you always have to be careful of what the overheads are going to be, because you don't want to get ahead of yourself. You want to make sure the cash flow is king, and make sure that you're always going to be able to fund the business going forward.
Yeah, I think market opportunity is always going to be out there, depending on your business, obviously. And as Donal said, maybe it is about expansion. Maybe, you know, it's a retail business and you've got one particular unit at this moment in time and you want to open up another one, and there are many, many business models for that. But again, it's about doing your homework. Don't just go racing ahead. Take that step back, think about how you're going to do it, make sure you've got adequate cash within your business. As Donal just said, and as we say every week, cash is king. It's great selling a product, great having a bit of profit on the books, so to speak, you know, in your management accounts. But if at the end of the day you haven't got cash, and cash in the bank is what it's all about, to fund your business, to fund your lifestyle, to fund the people in the business, it ain't going to happen. So do some homework, but yeah, good way.
So, they're looking to grow in the business. On to advertising. Well, what's the most effective way of advertising, in your opinion?
$64 million question. And we're looking at advertising now rather than marketing, because advertising is one element of advertising. And we say it every week, you know. The greatest form of advertising is personal recommendation. It's that word of mouth, so to speak. You know, someone tells you that there's a fantastic guy called Ian making cupcakes. There's another plug, by the way. Bring in the cakes next week. And you tell somebody else, don't you? You say, you know what, this guy can do a fantastic product here or a fantastic service. That's got to be the most cost-effective way of
It's free,
advertising,
isn't it? It's free advertising.
It's free. It's totally free.
And it's the most effective because people will trust what other people have told them because there's no benefit to them in doing it. They're freely volunteering that information.
Yeah.
Whereas just an advert in a leaflet, a paper, whatever, along with a host of others offering the same or similar service, doesn't have the same impact.
And it costs a lot of money as well.
And costs some money.
Absolutely. Yeah. It can cost an absolute fortune depending on what you want to do with it.
Yeah. And, you know, local papers obviously cheaper than national ones, and local TV is cheaper than national TV, but, you know, it depends what your budget is.
And we mentioned, it's about budgeting, good point. And, you know, no matter what the form of marketing is, if it's advertising, if it's promotion, whatever it can be, think of a budget, stick to it, use it wisely is what I will say. But we were mentioning earlier about, you know, social media. There is a key way of advertising your business today.
Again, reasonably free.
Absolutely, reasonably free. If you do it yourself, fantastic. If you can't, get someone in to manage it for you, etc., etc. You're adding some costs in. But what a fantastic way of advertising and promoting is the word I'd use. Promoting your brand, promoting and raising your awareness as part of that marketing concept again. But, you know, go out there and do it. But think it through. People buy from people. Donal mentioned before, you know, the word of mouth, it's about trust, isn't it? It's about, you know what, I like you, I'm listening to you, I can see you, I can look in your eyes and I know what you say will happen. So guess what? I'm going to work with you, I'm going to deal with you. That's what it's about. People deal with people.
Right, that's sadly all we've got time for today. It's flown by again.
My goodness me, that's ridiculous, but great.
Flown
Thank
by
you.
again.
Thank you,
If people want to get in touch with you two to get advice off you two away from the radio, how can they do it?
That's okay. Thank you, Donal. It's a dedicated telephone line, 0151 668 0363, 0151 668 0363. Two websites, morecrofts.co.uk, advancedbusinessvision.com, or Twitter at ABV_limited and at Morecrofts.
And yourself, Donal?
That's it.
All the same? All the
same.
one.
Just giving everything out there.
Just one voice.
Marvellous.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, gents.
Thank you. See you next week. Thank you very much.
Again. Thanks.
A pleasure as usual.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Right, the gents are back next Thursday to do it all over again, sorting out your business questions and your business ventures, the lot. The news on the way for you and journey after the news centre after this from David Guetta.